going on, guys? Sparrow here today, and today I'm going to be reacting to the 4th installment of Lost series, The Tale of the Lost Narrator, a story written with ink. Well, okay, I reacted to Stained Memories, I think it was back in February if I remember correct. So yeah, I've been very anticipated for this, and I actually did start to watch it a little bit, but not to where everything gets, critical. And I was just going to watch it, but I decided to do a reaction to it because, yeah, I figured I should continue this. Plus, with the new layout and all that stuff, it isn't going to take as long to upload and all that crap. So, yeah. I'm not sure what to expect from this one. All I know about it is that the character Ink Dye is definitely going to play a big role in this, considering the title and the fact that in Stained Memories, the thing that it was trying to explain the most was Magpie's or Beloved's fear of Ink Dye, some sort of entity that apparently has something to do with her past. Now, I have no idea what this is going to have to do with the story. Some people predicted that it had to be I think it was the filly that Curse Word murdered in the first installment. I don't know. I truly don't know what the hell's going to happen. So, without further ado, let's just get this started. And in 3, 2, 1, start. Deceiving Tales from a Lost Mind. That's the name of her series this Halloween. Or this Halloween series, whatever. Okay.
Data log, Sunday, February 18th.
Some sort of asylum, I'm guessing?
Subject number 0718 has failed to complete rehabilitation efforts. Experimental magical procedures recommended for continued observation and testing. 0718 will undergo extensive magically induced cerebral probe at the request of the warden. Desired results, a true and personal account of the events of the previous year. Possible side effects include memory damage, extreme emotional distress, paranoia, delusion, hallucinations.
Okay, so that's Guti right now. I do recognize the voice by far.
All possible side effects have been taken into consideration. The procedure will commence on schedule.
Fuck? What? The actual fucking hell? Okay, so this is Ink Dye apparently, and I need to turn that down that is loud.
Screaming. Sweet Celestia, I cannot stand screaming. At least not when it's obnoxious, nasty little fools who don't understand the concept of respect and knowing one's place. That little brat. He knew exactly how to get under my skin. The never-ending complaining and incessant crying. His perpetual objections to just the simplest of chores, responsibilities, or anything of that matter grated on my nerves. It was no wonder his mother left him, and his father. No mare would have enough patience to handle this tiny, insignificant urchin. Looking back, I really should have been a little more selective when it came to stallions and their children. Granted, I needed a stallion who was molded.
Oh, you
one who would bend over backwards to please me, love me. But the fool, that damn colt. He was a daddy's fool before I enter the picture, and convinced
so apparently we've got a character who doesn't like
this
children.
Child was just incorrigible. The overcompensation of a single parent can ruin even the best of children. Even with this spineless stallion and his insufferable
This character has
of a
too much
child,
hate in their heart.
I still found them usable. They were only just a means to an end. Playing this little role of family, blending myself into this little backwater town, just to finally find her. My little bird. I was so devastated when she left me.
Little
Waking up in
bird.
the middle of the night, her side of the bed completely bare of her presence. My patience running extremely thin as I searched endlessly for her. I would search
Wait
for
a
her
minute.
until my hooves
Wait
were
a minute.
nothing more than bloody,
Is her
pulpy
little bird
stumps
the beloved
until I
of
found
curse
this
word or
selfish
magpie?
whore. If she hadn't forced me to
You-
track her down, I wouldn't be in this situation. I mean, really? A stallion? The very thought is laughable to even the most seasoned of filly foolers. No
So I'm probably
stallion
gonna be
would
pretty
ever
quiet this
be able to
reaction
tame
because
me. But I needed time.
I have to listen very well.
With this shattered shambles of a family, I could have all the time in the world. I could play this card of the perfect little house mirror for as long as it took. All that mattered to me was how I could make my little bird fly back to the nest and ensure that she never leaves again. Besides, we all know that a stallion and a foal was the only logical cover. It's the only way a mare can be taken seriously these days, especially being so far away from home. It's sad too, considering the
What's
drop
with the image?
in
What
quality
does
of
the
life
image
here.
have to do with
How in
anything here?
Equestria could you even
I mean,
think
what am I
this
looking
was a
at?
suitable living situation? The simpleton common life was a miserable affront to everything we had back in Canterlot. How could she even want this life?
Canterlot.
No pony knew who she was here. In Canterlot, she at least had her status as my wife. All she had to do was remain at home, write her meager, meaningless stories, and just be my wife. All the while, I worked endlessly for us at the ink manufacturing site.
Wait a
It
minute.
was as though she had forgotten who I was. I am
Is this-
ink dye, and it is my
I
royal
don't want to
duty
say it because
produce
I don't
the
know
ink
if
for the
Lost would be
equestrian
comfortable with me
royalty.
saying this. I don't
Producing
know.
the magically laced ink is no simple feat, especially
I'll put
for
it in the
nerd fools such
text.
as
Like, I'll put it in
myself.
text.
So for her to
once I get Lost
completely
permission.
disregard
I
all of
mean,
my hard work,
This is
the
a touchy
notion
thing.
itself is just insulting to everything we've built together.
Let's just say it has something to do with Lost's personal
all right,
past.
I am a forgiving and graceful
I have a
mare.
feeling that's what this is interpreting
She should
here.
be grateful that some pony like myself would even
Seeing-
want to love her.
Inked that, or this
Regardless,
person
If it wasn't
is
for the
saying,
fact that I was trying to take back what was rightfully mine, this town would know
they're saying
exactly
that
who I was.
all they had to
But I
do
have
was
to keep
just
the
sit at
stallion
home and
under
read
hoof.
their stories.
And thus
That's what
far, it
Lost's
has proven easy.
OC
He's
curse
the
word
limited
does.
fool, but his colt, he's a completely different story. Half the time, I've had to cater to him just to get him to go to bed at night. And this particular night was no exception.
Seriously, what am I looking at here? I don't know what the
Soothing,
image is
straightforward
actually.
bath was all I had to do to complete tonight.
I'm sure I'm about to
while
get
his father
my
was out
answer
having a
pretty fast.
stallion's night out with his friends. It would have been perfect too. The bane of my existence would have slept while I worked, and his father would be none the wiser. But no, bath time was relatively on par with pulling his teeth. I grabbed the end bit of his tail with my mouth and yanked it as hard as I could towards the bathroom. Quit your thrashing! Do you have to make every bath a struggle?
I want a story!
I yanked harder, biting down even tighter. It's past your bedtime! Stop pestering and let's just...
Oh, this is
Get this
one
over
ungrateful
with.
person.
I
Her
want
pony.
a story!
Finally reaching
is
the
that?
edge of the tub, I jerked back,
Wait,
flinging
wait.
his slim body into the water. The splashback
Okay.
hit me in the face.
This is who Magpie
I could
hates.
hear him chuckling as
Or
he caught a
beloved.
glimpse of the look on my face.
Because I
As much as I would have
don't know,
loved
my
to take my hook
brain
to
is
him,
very, very,
the short time I had with my little bird taught me how long lighter coats
Little-
stained with blood and bruises.
her
Patience,
bird.
Ink.
That's the sun.
Remember
Okay.
why you are here. Remember that he is
why?
beneath you. They all are.
Okay, so
Took
I
a deep
remember in the
breath,
Tale of the Lost
trying to
Narrator,
compose
a boy
myself.
dies,
Will you
or
stop
like
fighting me
a
if
cult
I tell you a
dies
story?
in a drowning accident or
Colt looks up
something
at
like
me,
that.
His eyes brightly lit in the dim light of the bathroom.
Also, nice design. I really
The
like
eager
that.
naivety of a child. It's enough to make any respectable pony gag in disdain. He nodded fervently, finally settling into the water. I begrudgingly grabbed the shampoo bottle and poured a generous amount onto the child's head. Using my hooves, I began
Nice
to
sound
work
effect
the
for the
goop
shampoo.
into his mane,
Sounded like it.
craving a bubbly froth atop his head. I cleared my throat, irritated by the very thought of having to indulge this wretched child, and began.
Whoa.
Once upon a time,
Nice transition.
there
I like that.
was a little pink bird. Now, this little bird had no one to love it. Who could ever love a pink little bird who was so different from the other birds around her?
She wasn't loved because she was pink.
It was because
Who's
she
playing
stuck
the-
out like
the
a
cult
sore
here?
hoof. All the other birds
I
had
can't really
plain, boring
play
feathers and
put my
simple-looking
finger on
beaks.
who's voicing
Her
that
bright colors
cult.
made her such an easy target, especially when
I don't know
she
who's
lived
voicing
with her
Ink Dye
family
either.
in the city of clouds. A pink bird against the
Dang.
white and blue sky. It was no wonder why no
That's about as far
bird
as I,
liked her.
listened into it, was
Unable
to find out
really
who Ink
belong
Dye
with
was.
the other
That-
birds in
it's
the
clear
clouds,
by the title
she
who it
decided
is.
that she was finally going to leave her
Pretty
home
nice
in the
visuals.
sky,
I really like
since
this.
there was no place for a
Nice kind of
bird such as
Nice
herself.
transitions.
However,
Okay, I have a feeling who
had
this
nowhere
represents,
to
considering
go.
it's a bird.
This pink bird doesn't sound too smart.
oh, she wasn't. She was quite stupid, frankly, leaving her family with nothing to her name, alone and miserable. That was until she met a kind, noble gray jay bird, who took pity on
Okay.
the pink little bird.
Gray
Especially
jay.
considering the
There are
color
birds
of
called
the
gray jays.
bird.
Nope.
This
I
just
don't
matches
believe it.
Magpie's
Yes,
colors
gray jays
perfect.
do exist. You're the one who wanted this story.
A gray jay, huh?
He sighed, but settled back in. This gray jay took the little pink bird in and gave her everything she could ever want. A home, a future, and even love. The one thing she never really had, even from her own family. The gray jay gave, and gave, and gave, and never once asked for much in return, except for a little pink bird to follow a few simple rules. It seemed easy enough. But do you know what that little pink bird did?
No.
She broke those rules. She broke the rules all the time just to spite the gray jay. She even rejected the gray jay's love, even after the gray jay had given up
Okay,
everything
I know who the
just
gray
for
jay
her.
is. It's Ink
It
Dye,
was then that the
apparently.
gray jay realized the true colors of that little
Okay,
pink bird. She
I
was
think
an
I know what's going on
atrocious
here.
shade of red, black, and blue. Spoiled,
Oh, Jesus.
ungrateful, and selfish to the core. She had the audacity to blame the gray jay for trying to give them a better life. But you see, that little pink bird didn't understand how the world really worked. It doesn't matter
So,
how hardworking
they
you
abused
are.
them.
Everything can come crumbling down at a moment's notice. Especially when the little pink bird was just so different
This is
compared to everyone
really,
else.
really relevant.
That's why the gray jay had to be harsh to the pink bird. It was to make her a much better bird than she could ever be. She would finally understand
I'm
how
getting
much
this.
hard
I'm
work
getting it.
and love the gray jay had
I do
for her
think
little pink bird.
it has to do
I
with
don't like
lost
this story. I
personal
don't like birds.
life.
However,
Due to the
one
fact
day
that
when the gray jay came home from a long,
the
tiring day at
gray
work,
jay abused
she didn't find the little pink bird in their nest. She
the pink
looked
bird, yeah.
everywhere for her. Other birds nested in nearby trees and almost the entirety of the forest. She searched high and low for her little bird, but it wasn't until the gray jay stumbled upon a dingy, dirty, decrepit town that only uncouth, crass, horrible pony.
This is a
mean
very
birds
angry pony.
lived. That she found the little pink bird, her little pink bird, nesting with another bird without a single ounce of remorse for what she had done.
Ow! You're hurting me!
And
All
this,
of the potential that
yep,
the gray
the
jay
anger
had
is going to lead to the
nurtured.
boy's
That
demise,
pink
isn't
little
it?
bird had shared it with this ugly, boring, blood-red bird. It made a complete mockery of
Blood red.
everything the gray jay had worked for, and it made her very, very,
Blood red
very mad.
bird, I believe, is
So
lost.
much of the gray
That's
jay was that she
Magpie,
needs to get
and
the
that's
little
Ink
pink bird
Dye.
back. It was only fair that the gray jay gave so much
So
of herself.
Ink Dye
The
is
little
a
pink
part
bird
of
owed the
Magpie's
gray jay.
past, or
Magpie
beloved
belonged
in
to
this case.
Magpie?
The little pink bird belonged
Thank you.
with the gray jay. Everything would be right in the world if a little tiny bird could just
Jealousy.
learn her lesson. It's what's
So
fair.
jealous.
It's what's right.
Whoa, hello.
Stop it! Oh, you suck at telling stories!
The kid cried, splashing me with soapy water so
then.
violently it soaked my
Wait a
coat.
minute. Is this in the
I feel the
bathtub
corner
that I'm
of
looking
my
at?
mouth curl up. I wanted to retaliate, show this tiny affliction.
So,
its
anger,
place.
jealousy.
My patience was beginning to wane. I was about to retort my disdain at his ungratefulness when he continued.
Why can't you just tell a good story? Cursewords' crappy story from today was better than this shit.
I
Curse
can't
word.
exactly say what came over me at that moment. That little beast of a
She's
bird
gonna drown
wouldn't
him.
Stop. He continued ranting and raving about how much my story wasn't up to par with curse words. It wasn't like that was my special talent anyways. I was an ink supplier, not some simpleton housewife taking care of this dreadful, impudent fool. Not a pathetic storyteller who somehow made a living with such an undignified, sordid career. It was not my job to tell him any kind of stories. It was my job to just give him this godforsaken
Yes, it
bath.
is. Yeah, it's got to be like
I
in the
grabbed the
bathtub or
bar of
something.
soap as the lump in my throat began to rise to
I
the
don't
top.
know. It's really hard to tell.
I was always so careful to never leave a mark on the devil. But for once, I couldn't help myself. I was furious, overwhelmed.
Your anger overcomes you, and
Crimson red
You're gonna drown
enveloped
him.
my vision as I snatched him by the ear. His screams bounced off the walls of the bathroom as I forced that bar of soap down his little fragile throat. The foamy fizz
Oh
bubbled
my
up from the corner of
God.
his mouth as I held my hoof over his precious little snout. I glanced up at a
That
reflection
is-
in the bathroom.
oh,
mirror
that's
distance.
fucked up.
The perfect
That's
image of
fucked
a
up.
powerful mother and her obedient son. His eyes
Shit.
widened as he struggled to try and free himself from my grasp, but I just clenched his face tighter, refusing to budge. Bathwater
Okay,
dripped down
so
the reflection and my crimson red
this-
eyes shined back at me. Red?
what?
I shook my head, shutting
Wait,
my eyes for
what?
a brief moment. The mere thought of
Wait a
seeing
minute,
red in
isn't
my
that-
irises was absurd.
Isn't that also something to do with
I
curse
immediately opened
words?
my eyes and looked back at my reflection,
thingamajig?
hoping to catch a glimpse of red, but only my yellow golden eyes glinted back. I glared at myself for a moment, trying to make sense of what I had seen. Were my eyes really red in that moment? It seemed silly. Maybe it was my mind playing the casual trick on me, considering how engrossed I was in the other matter at Hoof. Oh, I had waited so long to finally do this. This! All those times
Oh,
where he refused to listen,
Jesus
where he completely
Christ.
disregarded me as his caregiver. No pony ever
This poor
disrespected
kid.
me as much as this spawn, and I was finally
So
going
this
to
is
show
the
him
cult
why.
that
But
that
in
was
the
killed in the
framed
first
mirror,
one.
I watched his pinpricked eyes fill
And
up
they-
to the brim with
they
tears as I
supposedly
shoved
thought it
him
was
face first
Lost
into
who
the
did
tub.
it.
The utter satisfaction of watching him thrash and splash about in the water, beating his hooves against
You
the
s-
porcelain,
you little
trying to defy me.
Bitch.
My hooves only stayed in place
Oh,
over his head as
Jesus.
seconds passed, and his movements began to slow ever so slightly. I had to commend
That's
him.
horrible.
He definitely
Okay, hang on.
was a
So she shoved his
resilient
his mouth
Eventually,
with soap,
the waves in the
so he
tub
can't
came to
breathe
a
in the
slow
water.
and
So, oh
steady
dear
stop.
God.
I peered back at the water and lifted my hooves off his head, shaking the excess water from
Jesus.
them. There he laid, now this lifeless foal, floating in the serene
Oh
bathwater.
Jesus, she's lost it.
Finally, the house was silent from his endless bickering. I didn't have to slave over this ungrateful waste of space.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not sure what I expected to feel at that
Wow.
moment, though. I've been told
That's
you're
messed up.
supposed to feel regret or remorse in situations like this. But like any like-minded pony, a prideful
This is
sense of
one
liberation
angry
washed right over me.
mare
No
that needs
amount
serious
of chaos was
help.
worth mothering that fool. And if questioned,
So this
I could always
explains
pretend
who really
it was
killed
an
the cult in the
accident.
first one.
No pony in their right mind would
Lost-
question a grief-stricken mother in
Curse
matters
Word thought
such
that
as
she
these.
had killed
For
him
once since
in
coming to
a
this
mind
wretched
state where
town,
she
I
thought
could
that
focus
she
on
had done it,
myself
where
and
she
work
was,
on
you know,
getting back to my little
conscious.
bird again. I shut my eyes
Oh,
and
dear.
smiled quietly to myself. at the
Okay,
thought.
so our little bird
She
is
would be mine
Magpie.
again, and love
Magpiepony.
only me, her one true love.
Jesus.
I would be able to touch her, breathe her in again, and finally be with her for once and for all. Nothing was going to stop me from this. Not even that lifeless form now drifting in the tub. Soon, Magpie, I will find you. I promise.
What's going... What are you doing?
My head snapped around to
Oh,
see...
shoot.
her. As if my malice had somehow summoned her to witness just how powerful my hatred can be. She stood there,
Okay.
her mouth agape. I could tell she was trying to process what she was actually viewing before her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Her deep crimson eyes that shined like blood.
And she blamed it on
in the
herself, I
moonlight.
believe.
It was then, at that exact moment,
I don't know, it's been a while.
that an innate cognizance washed over me. Those brief
It's really
instances
hard for
when
me to
you know
remember
something
exactly.
So true. You're not sure why or how, but you know it to be real like a simple fact. Like how the sky is blue, or water is wet, or pain makes you stronger.
In the world.
That shrew of a mare! This was all her doing. She caused all of this. The death of that colt, Magpie leaving me, having to put on this fake charade just so I can try to get my Magpie back.
Charade.
I will blame that mare with every fiber of my being, and I will ruin and
Oh.
bury her. It is the last fucking thing I do. My body began to move on its own, lunging
Language.
itself towards her. Garbled words began
See
to
that coming.
vomit from my mouth and throw themselves at her. Her eyes widened as she realized what I was doing. I wanted to snuff the ever-living life out of her like I did that child. As my hooves were about to wrap themselves around her brittle little neck, she dared to rear up on her hind legs.
Oh, jeez.
You're the reason this happened! Why the fuck do you make me do this? Ah!
Jesus
My eyes shut
Christ.
as the cold, wet floor met my face. I may have underestimated curse word. That won't happen again.
Oh, wow. So,
Data log, Monday, February 19th. Subject number 0718 reacted extremely favorably to hypnosis experiments
February 19th.
and detailed the events of the previous year from her own recollection.
Is that when
Though the
Stained Memories
information
came out? I'll
provided
have to
does
look
not
that up.
correlate to the information needed to further the
That'd be a
investigation,
nice Easter egg.
so all information going forward will still remain fictitious until verified. Once the experiment concluded, 0718 became physically violent and needed to be restrained and sedated. Unable to assess if it was a side effect of the experiment.
And many more.
Side note, 0718 has become more volatile and extremely aggressive towards other patients and staff, almost cracking open the skull of one of the prison guards on duty. It is in my professional opinion that 0718 not be rehabilitated and moved as a permanent candidate for further aggressive magical testing. 0718 has already shown positive results with almost all magical testing that has been performed on her.
I mean, for
except
God's
the augmented
sakes,
cutie
what's wrong
bump
with her?
procedure, or the ACMP.
Well,
0718
anger
has rejected any
basically
magical dosage
overcame
of the
her and-
CM enhancers
yeah.
provided in ACMP. In fact,
Okay.
various parts of her body are beginning to ooze a black substance, that is, eyes, ears, limbs, and already existing wounds. Requesting for further tests of the black substance and a biopsy for the black welts forming on either side of the rib cage. Once 0718 is approved for testing, subject is to be declared deceased, and tests are to be recorded on the classified terminals located in the research facility. It is my hope that magical rehabilitation efforts will be perfected using 0718, so that future subjects will not be resigned to the same fate. All data regarding subject 0718 is to be redacted upon her death.
Curse. Magpie.
I'm going to definitely have a lot to say about this one. Is that it?
I did it. I really did it.
Magpie sat alone in the darkness, clutching her hooves around the little single blue flame. She watched the flame flicker gently as the realization finally surfaced. This was it.
Then.
It was the final piece of the puzzle. All those years of luring helpless, defenseless ponies to what they thought
she
was
made like
a
a
better
deal with
plane
the
of existence,
the devil
only
in
for them to be swindled out of
Curse.
everlasting life by
All
such
the
a
viewers of
deceitful,
the
two-faced mare.
were
One
souls
would be
that you took,
lying if the guilt
including me.
didn't seem to rise to the back of her mind.
So is she
every
finally going to
time
escape the
she
dark
did
dimension?
that. But in this moment, none
But
of that
hold
mattered.
on a second, is that a
She
bad
was
thing because of
finally
ink
going
dye?
to be able to right all the wrongs, mend all the
I
broken
have
pieces,
a feeling that's
and
going to
restore
play
that
into the
mare
last
she
part of
loved
this whole entire
more
series.
than anything. Magpie slowly got up, grasping the soul in her magic, and began to make her way to the rendezvous
Or will there be
point,
dire
the
consequences?
one where he had appeared all those
doing
years
this?
ago. Just a simple voice telling her that she could atone for all her wrongdoings if she followed his instructions precisely. She couldn't help but feel a
Who is
wave
he?
of relief wash over her as she continued to walk away, humming to herself.
Wait a minute, could it be the
knowing
boy
that this was
that was
all
killed?
going to be over. She would finally leave this darkness, and everything would be
Or would
sunshine and rainbows. Soon, she would be one with the true love of her life.
The one who is the beginning, the middle,
That's who
and
tricked
the
her.
end.
Ink dye.
The one who will keep
Oh,
her little bird safe,
shit.
no matter what.
Oh, that is demented. But my question is, how did ink dye get into that universe? Or not universe, but dimension. Wow. Oh, for... Oh, wow. Wow. Lots to say on this one. Like, this is actually really hard. Okay, Mary Medley as Ink. Wow. Okay, Guti recognized him. Pegasus pitches the call. Wow. Nice. And Magpie is beloved, of course. Good job on the artwork. Very good job. I like the transition effects. Which I think, I actually do think that Lost might have an editor that does this for her. I don't know. Could be wrong. Okay. Alright. Well then. That was, it answered a lot of questions. Like, a lot of questions that needed to be answered. Excuse me as I burp, sorry. Okay, so we know who Ink Dye is. It's a part of, Beloved or Magpie's passing. She is given a name in this. She was in an abusive relationship with Ink Dye. Ink Dye was trying too hard to give her what she wanted, not realizing what she did wrong, and Magpie took the opportunity and just up and left. Like I said, this is very irrelevant to something that Lost basically revealed. But I have a feeling that really plays into this story. And it turns out, okay, so Ink Dye is, I really gotta remember hard here. Ink Dye apparently is the one who made Lost believe that she was the one who, had like a dark side to her. If I remember correct, I think that's how it went in the first story. I believe that Lost's OC, Curse Word, ran into her, and basically she tried to make her think that she was the bad guy, thus resulting in her becoming stressed and all that stuff, thus resulting in her basically banishing Magpie to the dimension. So, in all respect, it's Ink Dye's fault. She sent her little bird to that dimension by making Lost think that she was, going crazy, that she was doing bad. I could be wrong on some of this. I don't know. It's been a while. I reacted to the Tale of the Lost Narrator, I think 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, somewhere around there. But, okay. Ink Dye. So, she is an abusive mayor who is part of a relationship with Magpie, who was trying to be nice, but ended up abusing her, causing Magpie to leave the nest. And that resulted in anger on Ink Dye's side, and she basically swore revenge against, what's-her-face, a curse word, for taking her beloved away from her. So, but she ended up causing Magpie's descent into that, whatever, dimension. Wow. So, now we know just whose fault it really was. It was Ink Dye's. Ink Dye, very angry mayor that needs serious, help. Also, in the asylum, she was turning into ink. This is reminding me of a Teen Titans thing that I saw once. The bad guy turns into, like, this ink monster. So, Ink Dye, I have a feeling, is going to play into the last part big time. She's going to be, like, the main antagonist, the one who is going to really test the love between Curse Word and Magpie. Who's going to win? I don't know. It's going to be a Grimdark, so I have no idea. Then again, it could go a whole different direction, but now we know Magpie is free from the dimension by collecting souls and doing something very, very demented. By the way, I'm going to smack that like button. Okay, there we go. So, Ink Dye had some serious issues. She got into a relationship with a stallion after her little bird left her, and yeah, she doesn't like kids. So that's what resulted in her killing that cult. Which, yeah, that was pretty fucked up. Shoving soap down his throat and then drowning him, making him unable to, end his suffering faster than it needed to go. Oh my god, that's terrible. And then Curse Word caught her, and she tried to put all the blame on Curse Word, but Curse Word basically backtracked, but took that into her mind that this version of her that be careful what you wish for type deal played into this, and she actually did murder a cult. I don't know, I could be wrong. Therefore, that's what caused her to snap a Magpie on their anniversary, was it? And thus it resulted in her saying the wrong thing, and it sent Magpie to the dimension. But now Magpie is free. She's going to go find Curse Word and, right her wrongs, as it said. But Ink Dye set all this up. That's the only thing I have a question about in this entire story. In what way, how did Ink Dye get into the dimension? Was she sent there, or was her anger just so big that she could create this dimension and, plan this all the way through to get revenge on Curse Word? I don't know. That's kind of something that needs to be answered in the next one, which probably will be answered. But wow, that is pretty demented. I will never look at Mary Medley the same way again. I'm so used to her as Fluttershy in Bride of Discord / Daughter of Discord that I did not expect her to turn into this demented mare that needs serious, serious help. But not even help is going to help her. Mental help. This was screwed up, but now we have an idea of what's coming in the finale, I'm guessing. Because Lost said herself that the story is the 4th installment of a 5-part series to the Tale of the Lost Narrator. So, the next part is the final part. what do we have to expect in that one? I have no clue. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of possibility of love being tested against ink dye, which is it's like a representation, like a poltergeist that is composed of anger, jealousy, and a lot of messed up shit. But there's so many questions that I have. I mean, how did ink dye get into this dimension? That's my only question. I have a feeling she is connected to this, and that was part of her plan to get Magpie back, or her little bird. Altogether, this was great. I really love this, and I cannot wait to see how this actually ends. This is going to be an interesting way to how this ends. Hopefully, Magpie and Curse Word do get back together, and ink dye gets completely eradicated forever. So, but knowing Lost, it's going to be a Grimdark. So, who knows how this is going to end. So, yep, guys, that is my reaction to a story written with ink. Great job, Lost. Great job, Magpie. Mary Medley, very good job on the freaking narration of ink dye. And just a very interesting character. Well done to all of you, and yeah, cannot wait for this finale to this wonderful series that you've put together. Very dark and demented, but awesome. So, yep. That's all until next time, guys, and like, comment, subscribe for more, and hit the bell icon, of course, if you want to see more. And, yep, until next time, happy horrors, and take care until next time. Brohoof.